Hi everyone, we're back with another episode on Off the Record with me, Saman, on ITSP Magazine. And the saga just continues, and we're having more students, more stories, more to talk about on things. And I just try my level best to get as many degree programs so that it's all diverse. So this time we have somebody from the MBA side. So you'd learn more on that degree program. And also, it's just not somebody coming on F1, but somebody who was already here on a different visa and then went on to F1 visa and then a lot of things around it. So this would be a good, experience for a lot of people to relate to and get out. And obviously, we have Shreya here. And we're so delighted to have her. And whoever has not seen her on social media, I've seen her and I love all her videos, and that's really like helpful for a lot of folks. And I am really humbled that she came part of the podcast, and she'll talk about her experiences and a lot of other things as well. So stay tuned. And Shreya, over to you. Please introduce yourself to my audience and to talk about more about where are you right now and what visa are you on, what country you came from, which year you came from, all those things.
Okay, perfect. That's a lot of things, and I would share it right away. Perfect. Hi, Saman. Firstly, thank you so much for having me and giving me a platform to share my story. Like you said, it is a little different than any international student because I came on an H4 visa, and then the story continued. So, hi everybody. My name is Shreya. I am from India. I come from Rajasthan, which is, I come from a very small hometown, and then I studied in Mumbai. I've done finance back in India. I came to US in 2015, so December 2015. Seems like an era. I can't do math, so I'm not going to do the numbers, but seems like an era for sure. I am a trailing spouse, and that's why she says that I was on a different visa, and then I came on an F1. So I was a trailing spouse. I was on H4. When I came, my husband didn't have his documents for green card, so I couldn't get my EAD. And because I couldn't get my EAD, I knew that there's no way I'm just going to sit at home forever. I took good 6 months to understand the culture, know the language, and everything that I needed to actually just not fit in, but understand that there's a big life change that has happened. I took that time, started preparing for my GMAT, absolutely did not score well, didn't want to give it again because I was like, I'm okay not studying anymore. But then when all of this was happening, my spouse decided to have another job and take up another job. So when I came, I was in LA for a year. He took up another job and we shifted to Seattle, and I'm so glad we did. I love Seattle a lot more. So right now I'm in Seattle and I've been here for over 7 years. And that's where my actual student journey of F1 started. I did my MBA from Seattle University. And so I started with an H4 in Seattle University, but then I shifted to F1 for multiple reasons, and we'll talk about that some and more. But then I shifted to F1 from in my second quarter. But yeah, but that's who I am, and that's where I am right now.
That's perfect. And that's one thing that I really love, that, we have a lot of ways that one can be an international student. It's not always that you come back from your home country and study something. It's maybe
Mm.
like, you're just chilling and it somehow just clicks you that let's get ahead with the degree program or anything of that sort. And that is one thing that we really wanted to touch base on. Maybe a lot of folks would not know about it. So
Mm.
everyone, yeah, like all ears here. So with our podcast starting, I just really wanted to understand, because you were here on an H4.
Yeah.
Is there any sort of motivation? Like, obviously, you took that 6 months to understand the country, the culture, and how
Mm.
things work here, and it's typically different from what we've seen back in India. So, what
Absolutely.
really motivated you to move from H4 to F1? Because there is a lot of things that comes into picture, maybe finances, a lot of time
Mm-hmm.
management, and a lot of other things. So, how things got motivated towards the graduate studies?
Yeah, I think that's a great question because even I was asking myself that when I was trying to switch visas, because of course there's a cost involved, there's a process involved, documentation. All of us have gone through the visa process, right? But so because I didn't have an EAD, I couldn't work on campus, and I really wanted to work on campus. One for the financial reason, and second for the exposure reason, because being an international student, you can't work anywhere else legally. correct. You can only work on campus, and I wanted to work on campus for, again, one, I can actually have conversation with people, get better at my communication skills, get better at knowing what all opportunities do I have, what's the culture basically in US for work. And then, of course, the stipend piece of it, because then you get some amount of money that you can either pull back in the household, you can keep it for your own expenses, depending on, how you, or anybody who's providing that finances for you, work together. But that being said, I would really say anybody who's coming here for a master's, either now deciding to do a master's, definitely think of an on campus job, not just from the perspective of, oh, it'll give us some money, but then from the bigger picture of, it'll give us some experience in the industry. You would get to know some of these tools that, here, that we use, that we don't use back in our home countries. And more than that, that'll just give you so much more confidence, because once you graduate, you would not say that I have no experience in US. You would probably say I do have experience, because whatever you're doing on campus, it's literally not just admin. There are a lot more things that you can do on campus. So my motivation definitely was like, listen, I just want to go out, meet people, and have my, like, start chatting with more people, not just my spouse's friends. And I know I'm like, people are not going to love me for that. But honestly, when I came here the first 6 months, I was just somebody's wife, and I was probably not okay about only that. And I wanted to have like my own circle. I wanted to have my own conversations with people. And I was like, come on, university is going to be the best place. And Someone, if you would hear, I was there starting 7 a.m. until 10 p.m. So my classes would end at 9 p.m. I would come back home at 10:30, have the glass of milk or the biggest dinner, and then just sleep for the next day and then get up at 5 a.m. again. And I did that for 2 years. I would do it all over again.
That was supposed to be my next question. That
Sorry.
you like were rethinking on your decision that Shreya, what did I just did to myself? I was really having a fun time. And I took my life to 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. And I totally understand that's really a big step, and I understand and I really love it that you honestly came out of it that, we really want some motive in life. There's
Yeah,
some personal branding involved, and you know the visa thing is really crazy here in US. That's one thing, and
very.
so there are foundations with every visa. Like I'm also on one, and we have to maintain that trail of work, trail
Yeah,
of things, so that we're not doing anything off the record. Not
yeah,
just this podcast.
yeah.
So that
Love
was
that.
a great reason, and with on-campus job you get experience, you get a lot of networking opportunities because
Yeah,
the professors, they are like one, universal hub to a lot of, people around. So
yeah.
I agree that's like the best thing. But when we come down to the college here, Seattle University, so was it just like a, a comfort space being in Seattle, or you had like, bunch of options from where you chose Seattle
Mm.
University, and how did the curriculum and everything stood out for you that you chose this one?
I think I love that question, because I know a lot of us have difficulty choosing which university over why. A lot of us think about like weather, finances, and then we also think about like, would we get jobs? Would that city provide the opportunities that we need after graduation? For me, the biggest reason was, one, definitely my spouse was here, so I wanted to find something here in the area. We've had an arranged marriage, so we didn't want to do like long distance at all, and I don't think we were allowed to do it. But then, second probably would be, so there were two options that I had: Seattle University and University of Washington. University of Washington also has great ranking in business school. It was little, I think it was burning my pockets a little more than I would wanted it to. And second, honestly, I've never been in US. I've never worked in US. I didn't know would I get that ROI or not. Now I think I would have got it, but I'm glad that I did Seattle University, because when I sat with the academic counselors, one, they were very welcoming. Second, they had like great community of like Asian students in general. Because for me, diversity really matters, because then in a class, when you're sitting, your opinions are taken into picture. They understand it's a global market, and the things are taught that ways. And third, very important thing, when I went to see the curriculum, they showed me something called emotional intelligence. Okay, so all of us actually, I mean, come on, all of us have been taught emotions. Nobody has been taught how intelligent you can be, how intellectual you can be with emotions as well, right? And I was like, listen, I'm just going to be here because this looks pretty interesting. And I always wanted to get into marketing because I wanted to be an entrepreneur like I am today. And I was like, let's just get started. So definitely curriculum, definitely how deep it was burning my pockets. And third, I wanted to be in the area, so I wanted to take something where I can just go and be with people. I don't have to travel. I don't have to do it hybrid and online. And at that time, it was 2017. There was nothing like hybrid or online, right? So yeah, I mean, and looking back at it, and I'm glad I did, because on campus options, opportunities, everything that I got through them. I mean, I've become what I have become honestly because of Seattle University.
I totally can relate it because, it's just not the curriculum which stands out for you. It's a lot of other things as well. Online, we usually see the rankings and everything, but a lot comes out of the alumni and how they are catering towards students. And obviously, that really counts. Like, people may consider it as a cliche, like if you're coming to US, let's just get out of our community and explore more. That's
Mhm.
good, but somehow you still need your community around as well for times, but for times like those times you really need it. And I agree to that point as well. I really wanted to see some faces, like,
Yeah,
which can really help me cope up with things in the initial times, and then eventually I do have a lot of friends outside of the country or from US itself. That's totally fine,
mhm,
but that's the comfort space I totally agree with. So
absolutely.
yeah. So here we come, like Seattle University, all good, all sorted. We'll talk about the visa things a little later because I know, changes from H4 to F1
Yeah.
needs going back to your country, getting stamped and coming back. So we'll
Yeah.
return to the elephant of the room later. But
Okay.
for now, I really wanted to talk more about in terms of finances because that's
Hmm.
one biggest factor. And I really wanted to like understand more if you
Hmm.
are on an H4, obviously, and you don't have any finances from before, in
Yeah.
US especially, but
Yeah.
how did you manage things to come on F1 and
Hmm.
you came on it on quarter 2? So if you can walk us through the finances, any sort of, like, I know there are a lot of international scholarships that universities provide. Not
Absolutely.
all of them provided, but some
Yeah.
come in the form of TARA jobs. So anything that
Yeah.
you can highlight on that as well.
Yeah, totally. So, yes, I mean, finances is a big factor when you're deciding or when you're becoming an international student. So, for me, so we'll start with the first part of it, that how are my finances tackled. So, of course, my husband was here. He has done his master's from here. So, he was the one who was kind of financing my master's. So, we got into an agreement that you give me money for 2 years and then I would pay you in the very first year. I'm so glad I was able to do it. Of my first job, I was like, here is your money. We solid, we straight. But then, yeah, he financed it for me because both of us didn't want to ask it from the parents. And when we chatted about our futures together, we like, I was pretty sure I wanted to do a master's because I'm a CSCS back from India, and I was like, I have to do a master's to like set things right for me in the next stage of my career. So we started with that. So my finances were like pretty straight. And because he had an IT job, I was not worried much about it. We were definitely living paycheck by paycheck, but I was not very worried about it, that where it's going to come, like the next quarter fees, right? For me, it was around, and I'll give you some certain numbers because it must have changed from over there. I graduated in 2019. It was like around, I think, 850 per credit, and I had like 56 good credits. So I think it turned out to be like the total expenses of like printers, blah, 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 retreats, all these classes turned out to be around like good 60,000 for my MBA. I got a little bit more than that in my first job. So, guys, you get your money back. Just definitely invest not just your money, invest everything that you have in those 2 years into that program, like your energy, your social skills, your communication, your intellectual. Invest that in your degree, you would absolutely get it all back, right? But then that being said, yes, there are a lot of scholarships. Seattle University does 100% provide scholarships. I know a lot of my international student friends have taken that. A lot of my classmates did that. They were filling the forms all the time, going back to academic counselors. I honestly didn't do it, Saman, because I thought me and my husband could manage it. I mean, we were in runs here and there, but I knew that we could manage it. So I didn't want to take the opportunity from someone who might would have needed it more than me. So I didn't even try for it. But I know Seattle University does have it, and most of the universities has it. It's always good to ask your academic counselors. It's always good to check on the website. It's always good to find an alumni on LinkedIn and ask, like, hey, this is where I'm going to get my next degree. What, like, can you suggest a couple of these questions? And then you can ask them. So I would say your networking should not start from the first day of your college, probably a lot earlier than that.
I totally agree. And I just made those faces because these numbers are still big for me because
It is.
FYI, I'm still in the first year after my college. So,
Oh.
but I would really support on that fact that, once you move from INR to USD, like when you start earning here,
Yeah.
um, it doesn't looks that much. You can still give back that money,
Yeah.
with your husband, father, or maybe
Yeah.
alone, because I'm seeing a lot of folks here. Things are easier if you have a good job
Yeah.
and you're getting good pay. But if it's not like a bar has to be set up, it's good. You can still give back because it's more of INR and USD conversion. So you're
Yeah.
always good. Just pray the rate just moves up and up. So it's good for you. But
Totally. I
just
really want to add
kidding.
one thing to it, that have that motivation that it is a loan that you're taking from
Yeah.
somebody, and then you got to give it back. See, I'm mentioning my spouse because he was here. He did a lot of, the managing logistical things that I wouldn't manage otherwise. But then, if it even if it's your parents, even if it's you're taking from a sibling, make sure that in your mind you know that I'm going to repay them somehow. It can be a big trip, it can be anything, but you're just going to repay them, because that would give you the motivation to do a lot bigger than you would otherwise. I mean,
And
helped me a lot.
it really feels you really independent because once I was in my graduate program, I was depending for that source of income from my
Yeah.
family. And, you always cut short on things like, okay, let's just cut short on things. Let's live like more of a, tight life.
Yeah.
Once
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
done out earning, the world is out there and you can go as much crazy as you want. So,
Yeah. Totally.
that was there, like, but now I see and I really feel proud that, I'm giving back that money back.
Yeah.
So there is a sense of independence for you as well, and living here earning, so things are
For sure.
possible. Like, I'll just totally second that thing, that it's easy to give back.
It is possible, and I've heard it from a lot of people that it's easier to be a trading spouse. It's very difficult to be an international student, and vice versa also. Okay, I've heard like international students saying, or like trading spouses saying that it's easier for you all, but it's honestly not easier for anybody, and it's not difficult for anybody. It's what circumstances you are in and how you react to it. It was difficult for me because I was a trading spouse and I was financially dependent on somebody else. It might be difficult for an international student because they don't know anything about it. They're absolutely landing on a plain ground, and there's nobody actually to give them a direction, right? So it's everybody has their challenges. So I mean, do not come with that thought that I'm going to be an international student, but then ground is easier for the other person. No, just look at your challenges and then take it from there.
I know, like, there is always pros and cons. Like, for example, your better half was there and
Yeah.
he had seen the world, he had been a student once, so he was there to guide you. Okay, I understand for F1 students I did not have anyone, but somehow
Mm-mm.
life drifts off, and
Yep.
our challenges are different from what somebody on page
100%.
4 moving to F1 would feel. But challenges are everywhere, that's constant, but it may
Totally.
differ from time to time. So
Totally.
I know you talked about the finances, and that was like a lot because, for normal master's degree, it's basically like close to 33 credits.
Yeah.
36 credits, I was just giving a deep thought. I cannot do it that much. But yeah, that's fair also. Like the cost that I see, 850, I think
Yeah.
so it's fair there. I
Yeah.
know this would have changed by the time, but
It has already.
please.
Yeah. I checked the website, like it had already changed, and I'm so glad that I'm done with it. I don't have to pay about it anymore.
Yeah. So, I just wanted to touch base on the point, like, were there any sorts of, the on-campus job that you did? So it was more of like a teaching assistant or a research
Mm.
assistant, or you were more on the administrative side? Just wanting to understand more on that.
Yeah, this is a great question. And I'm glad you touched upon that because I had a thought when I was talking about it. So definitely try finding an on-campus job which is related to your work, which is closer to the people that you would want to generally network with. And third thing, which is going to help you build that skill that you might need once you graduate, right? And I picked all of these three things up and took a job as a graduate assistant at the graduate academic counselor's office, graduate academic counselor's office, because then I wanted to speak with the incoming students about what challenges do they have, and wanted to like speak with them so that I can actually share some knowledge, my experiences. Because again, I knew a little bit more because I was in the second quarter, and as they come speak with me, I really want to speak to you all and share everything that I have, but which I've learned. That being said, I was a coach back in India, so I wanted to continue doing that here as well, right? I just didn't know in which direction. So when I came here and I when I got the on-campus job, I was super happy because I was indirectly trying to, getting to coach these people about like what directions they can take, how they can utilize the next quarter, if their first quarter, what kind of electives they can take. So I would say yes, choose an on-campus job which is related to your work, which I didn't. That helped extremely because I started giving these orientation programs, I started delivering speeches and presentations there, so I could stand in front of a lot of people, which I would have been very scared in the first quarter, thinking that I don't have the accent, I don't have the language, I don't know what they want from me, right? We don't know the set of expectations that they have because whatever we've been taught in our home country might be different than wherever you go in the world, right? Not just US, anywhere. So it was very very helpful for me. All the bosses that I still call them bosses, they don't like that, but all the bosses that I had during that 1.5 years, we're still in contact. They are fantastic networks to me. They have given me recommendations or nominations to be nominated in an alumni award. So I'm just saying that once you get into that groove of doing what you love doing, everything else just gets in the place automatically. So find a job that's related to your work, that's going to be related to your work after graduation, which is extremely helpful.
That's I totally agree. And things were a little derailed for me when I joined college and I got
Yeah.
a job. Like, I'll give a story. Like, I was the teaching assistant, and I used to grade the assignments and the exams and everything. And there were students who used to just stand in front of me and, like, this is not the correct marking. We have mentioned the pointers and stuff like that.
Mm.
I was like, I don't want to be the bad person here. It's just the professor who just asked me, gave me those answer key. So eventually I moved being a research assistant, and I was fairly happy there, that
Yeah.
I don't want to face like negative things that, like,
Hmm.
give me 1 marks, give me 2 marks, give me that, give me that. And I felt like, no, I can't do that. No,
Yeah, that's
the
good.
professor would be doing it. So that was one place that I switched after one semester. And
Hmm.
the next 2 semesters I was in RA totally. So,
That's good.
I understand that part. Like, the obviously that is a part time. You have to give 20 hours. You are paid for it, but
Hmm.
get paid for something you love it, because anyways
Absolutely.
the program is really heavy for you with the subjects and assignments and a lot of other things. And I understand 56 credits would have taken a lot of hard work from your end and time and burning that midnight oil and writing assignments. I understand totally.
Totally.
So that's like that's really fair on you talking about, like, search for those on campus job. And things really start from way early of you joining the college and not the
Yeah.
first day, so that
Totally.
you're just not like, hi, hello, and things are almost gone by that time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Totally.
I just wanted to, like, understand how was your experience when you were here on H4 and moved to
Hmm.
H1 as a student. So how, and then later, you were working with couple of organizations, and now
Yeah.
an entrepreneur, like you wear
Yeah.
that hat and you're your own boss. So,
Yeah.
how was the transition for you? Like, if you can give specific examples from, it's really an exciting journey for you. You've seen
It's
all,
a lot.
like, at least one, two, yeah, three phases you've seen, like as an H4, then F1,
Yeah.
and you working with an organization. How are things? And right now, how are things?
Yeah, and I think when you were asking me that question, I was just thinking in the back of my, I was like, oh my God, a lot has happened in these 8 years, right? So yeah, so I came on an H4. I was on my H4 for almost 1.5 years until I got into my MBA, and then I decided to be on my F1 for the reasons I told you, for my finances and definitely to be able to work on campus. So I went to India and I got my F1 because that was the fastest way of doing it. I could have done a change of status here as well, but that was taking a lot longer, and I wanted to start my quarter with my F1 so I can start working in that quarter itself. So I went to India, I got my F1, and because I was already working, I didn't have to, go through a lot of questions, or it was not grueling. The interview was nothing. It was just, they were just like, why do you want to switch? And I was like, because I don't have an EAD and I want to work on campus. And then they were like, why do you want to work on campus? And I was like, because I want to gain some experience and definitely like earn some money there so that I can have that pocket stipend or whatever. Everybody's interview is different. I've spoken to a couple of my friends and their interview was different. Mine was better because I had like very clarified answer, because when they asked like, are you going to work there later? Would you stay in US? And I was more like, my spouse is there, so I'm definitely going to stay there. I'm not sure if I want to work or not. I'm definitely like, I'm just figuring out what I want to do. I wanted it to be that subtle, because if they understand that you have this motive of like staying here forever, unfortunately they reject it sometimes. I've heard it a lot. So I'm just giving that, because it's off the record. I'm just giving that idea that you probably don't want to be, you want to be very subtle about like what your future might look like after graduation.
I
Um,
understand that. Sorry to cut you there, but
no, not at all.
specifically, like, I know I prepped all those answers, but I was really subtle there. Like, it has to be convincing in your tone
Yeah.
that, that's what you're going to do. Or it shouldn't sound vague, or, you've learned by heart and you're just talking about it.
Scripted. Yeah.
I,
And I'm glad that you said that, because I teach this to my clients, that it's not the story that matters, it's the storytelling that matters. So you have that story, but then if you're not telling it right way, with voice modulation and with that impact, then they're just not going to believe it. But then yeah, fast track. I think I came here. I was in my F1, and my program was not a STEM program. So it only had like 1 year, and then 2019 I graduated, and 2020 beginning we also saw COVID happen. So right after 2019, after I graduated, I got into Microsoft. So I had a very good job, and everything was like really happy and whatnot. And right after Microsoft, I got into Amazon, and then when Amazon was happening, I COVID happened, and when I was renewing my H4, it took around, I really want to say 14 months, which would otherwise just take like, let's say 6 or 8 weeks to renew it with, your spouse's company. It doesn't take more than that. And when it's getting renewed, you can still work for 180 days, Summon. I'm not sure how much you know about H4. So if you have an H4, and then, sorry, if you have an F1 and then you've put a status, like change of status application, you can still work even if the change of status application is not being processed. You can still work for 180 days after the last day legally you could work. My 180 days were cleared, and after that I think also 8 months were cleared, and I had to I had to give up on my job on Amazon because my visa was not there because of renewal, and it was COVID. I couldn't meet a soul, and we were like there. It's only two of us in the house, and then I realized that, listen, financial independence is one thing. Yes, I probably now want visa independence as well, because I don't want to be dependent on somebody else to actually be financial independent, right? See, I don't have anything against the H1 and H4. The idea that COVID hit, that nobody could think about, and I lost my job and sat at home for 8 months, kind of baffled my mind. So the next job that I got was at TikTok, and they were not ready to do my H1, and which is fair because they said that in the beginning they might not do it. The next job that I got was in Uber, and that's where the story of H1 came into being, because I told my manager I definitely would need it. And then they gave me the H1. So the idea to have my own H1 was definitely to get that visa independently of each other. So if anybody's jobs is affected, the other one can still run the household, right? I was very worried about the fact that, listen, if you lose it, are we gonna go home and like pack and literally go back home? And then we were worried about it, and I was like, I'm probably gonna ask my manager. So 3 months into my job, I asked them, and they gave me that. Fun part about H1B is you're on your own boss, kinda. You don't have to be dependent on someone else's visa. You're not worried about it. But then unfortunate thing is I couldn't do what I was doing as my entrepreneurship thing. Whatever side business I have related to my coaching, I couldn't earn that, right? So that kind of was a little itchy in my heart, that so H1 and H4 is like H4, you can, for anybody who doesn't know, H4 is with your EAD, you can work, you can have multiple incomes, and you're not sought to like one employer. Even if you're employed at a corporate, you can still have other incomes legally. You don't have to worry about that. But then you can't do the same thing on H1 because H1 is one single corporate bound. Um, so yeah, so I'm back on H4 now because I'm doing my coaching full time as well. So I Oh my God, do you see that? The
it's
roller
full
coaster?
circle, yeah.
It's a full
But
circle.
that's it has something lot to learn about, because it's just not personal independence, financial independence. We talked about visa independence,
Yeah,
lot of things that you experienced, and it is something I'm pretty sure a lot of folks would be experiencing it,
yeah,
like spouses, or maybe others who come up here on dependent visa, and
yeah,
you're really bound by the visa that firstly you're dependent, then if you want to switch, to getting a job, getting the EAD, then putting up yourself on H1B, and then
Yeah.
again with that H1B you have to stick to one employer and nothing
Yeah.
has to be on the other sides. So there's a lot that you experienced, and I really love
Yeah.
it. Like, I'm sorry I'm saying, but I really
Thank you.
loved it. It's like a
Thank you.
good roller coaster ride, but it's fun. Like, totally, it's fun that
Yeah.
you saw every phase of the life with every visa opportunity,
Yeah. There you
and you
go.
then chose, okay, I'll go with this one. This is not working for me.
I mean, I wanted, see, the idea for any of us who are here, someone is to build that career and that life, right? Nobody is living away from their land, from their family, just for like fun, right? All of us are living here for opportunities and the exposure that we get, the independence, the quality of life that we get. And nobody would deny that. I know that. But I wanted to take it a notch up and understand that do I have a saying and a choice in it? I didn't have a choice when I was in H4, right? But then I was like, I have a choice now to get an H1. Right now, also I have a choice if I want to get on an H1 and go into a corporate, I can go it because my H1 is picked forever. I can anytime go back to it. But when I was thinking of H4, I was honestly thinking, see, I have this resources, right? I know how to coach people. I have gone through all of these things. Why am I not doing it? Just because of one thing, which is visa, right? So earlier I was scared about it for multiple reasons. COVID happened. I wanted that visa independence, but I came back to it because I knew I had something bigger to offer. So I think my visa independence somehow was a little lesser in value than what I have to offer in coaching. I was like, I'm going to take that risk, get back to H4 for a year and a half, see if I can have that six-figure business, and if I can have that, then it's going to be H4, and then I'm just going to get on my business visa. I'll be solid.
I totally agree because visa is always the biggest factor. You need to check up all sorts of requirements that could
Yeah,
work on that visa, and then you lead your life onto that. And then
yeah,
obviously collection of papers, collection of things, collection of
lot.
records. Till the time you die, you have to maintain that file for yourself. So I
Yeah,
totally agree. Like, it's everywhere, be it H4, be it H1B, be it F1, you're tied to those particular features, I would say.
everything. Yeah, everything. I joke sometimes about that with my family that my memory file is a lot smaller than my visa file. My visa file is this big and my memory file is only this much.
I totally agree because there's a lot of things like basic is like, for example, you move from Seattle to, for example, LA. You know, I moved from Atlanta to Dallas, and I had to just remind myself, okay, I have to change my address. Where all I
Yeah,
have to change my address?
yeah,
This. If
yeah,
it's
yeah,
missed somehow, you're done.
yeah, yeah,
So
totally.
I'll give one live example that happened with me a couple of days back. So my university email got expired. So,
Oh,
it's been like good 1 year that they let us use it after the degree program as well. So I used it for a couple of places for student perks.
huh?
And now things are getting on the, roads now that, that email ID is not
You
working.
can't use
So
it.
yeah,
Hmm.
for example, I just checked up with my university DSO, 2 days back that, I
Hmm.
would move to my personal email address. So can you please update it on my service
Hmm.
report?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that's couple of things that come up into picture when you talk about visa. You are not that free. You have to get yourself updated on all of the platforms. So that's one.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And then you have to keep all your documents ready, not just online. We're very much into like documentation. So we keep a copy, a physical copy of
Yeah.
each
We're
document,
Indians.
literally.
He'll always
I know.
in copy.
But that has come really handy,
Yeah.
sometimes when we have everything online and people like, No, we really need a copy," and we'll be like, "Here." And they'll just have like random five photocopies sitting in there. And it's like, why do we even have all this crap? But then at the right moment, it's actually being used. So we feel like if you never, what do you say? Like, never enough prepared for it, I would say. Like, yeah,
we we talk about a lot of things on the visa part, a lot of hassle, but we still love it here. Like, we love maintaining those records, we love maintaining those paperwork. So that's one thing that's
no questions
unanimous.
about it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
no
the
questions about it.
opportunities, the lifestyle that we've maintained here, that's something that we don't want to barter on. So
Totally.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's the
100%. Yeah.
so one big thing, I guess, my next question is, for those folks who have worked as 9 to 5 in different organizations.
Hmm.
may have been working right now, but they have certain ideas at the back of their head to start. But because
Hmm.
of the visa things, they're not able to do it. So
Hmm.
I know you've worked with really, immensely amazing opportunities that you've got with couple of organizations from
Yeah.
Microsoft, Uber, TikTok, and Amazon. They're all big
Yeah.
organizations with a lot
Yeah.
of experience and a lot of finances as well, which you could have covered up. But
Totally.
leaving those jobs and becoming an entrepreneur, I know it looks simple, but it would have taken a toll on you on
Yeah.
a lot of terms. So I just want to ask this question, that how was life from being a 9 to 5 to now being an entrepreneur? What are the
Hmm.
few things that really kicked off for you? What are few things that
Hmm.
did not went or
Hmm.
may have taken some time for you to adjust, so that we talk about those set of people who really want to do it but
Hmm.
may are stopping themselves because of few other reasons and they're still continuing with their 9 to 5.
Totally. Yeah, no, I think that's a great question because when I was trying to explore and have these conversations, I wish, there was like off the record with someone and I could have come and heard your podcast. But I would say, first thing, if you're trying to beat that nine, like not beat it, but then trying to switch from the 9 to 5 to a entrepreneurship, I would probably say figure out, test the waters. That means start doing something after 5. So I started doing it 6 to 9 in the evening and then morning before 9. So I would do 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. All my client calls would happen, and then 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. because I sleep very early, so 9 p.m. is my deadline. So I would do these 6 hours every day on my coaching business. Either it's social media, making those reels, creating those posts on LinkedIn, speaking to the clients, taking their sessions, being out there in the networking event, all of those things. That was my idea of doing a little bit of market research. One, do I have the scope? Second, do I have the skills that they need me to? And then do I have those skills that would give me that 9 to 5 wala, just that paycheck kind of. And third, and the most important thing, what is stopping you? Like you need to sit and figure out what is stopping you. For me, it was that comfort. That see, I go 9 to 5, I have a structured meeting, somebody's telling me what to do, I'm doing that, my paycheck is coming home. Why do I need extra stress, right? That was me for like good 6 months. I was like, listen, do I really want to do this?
It just takes a lot of courage to actually say that. I can't say that because I know I'm into that comfort zone. Like, not comfort zone, but this is something like we're not demeaning 9 to 5 here, but it's like more of like, somebody who really wants a change.
Yeah.
Maybe like people like me are really good with 9 to 5 and we're able to do our
Yeah.
volunteering experiences after that. But there are times when you have that passion, like you have it, and you really want to like just not limited to 6 hours. Like I want to do it for like I do it for my job for 8 to 9 hours. Like I
Yeah,
want to give like
totally.
undivided attention to it and just not during my off work hours. But
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I would kind of correct you there. Once you don't have a 9 to 5, it's not going to be 8 to 9 hours. It's definitely going to be 24 hours. You would breathe in, you would wake up and you'll be like, oh, that client. Oh, that person. Like I wake up so the thing I didn't like about myself earlier was like, oh, I use so much phone, right? I was like, oh, I literally have a book which is called Break Up with Your Phone. Okay. And I read it. I have it in my hand and I'm like scrolling on my phone. I was like, yeah, there is no breakup happening, but it's going to be 24 hours for you, right? So be prepared. For someone who's trying to switch, I would say first definitely do all these market research, figure out, test the waters, see if there is a scope. But second is mindset preparation. That means you're ready for challenges, you're ready to fail. More important, you are ready to be literally nobody and then be somebody. See, in 9 to 5 you're somebody. I was a recruiter, I was literally somebody. People would want me, people would find me for meetings, people would want Shreya to do something, right? Once you are off that 9 to 5, the next day you have nothing on your calendar, almost nothing. Second, nobody is asking you to do something, so there's zero accountability. You're going to be your own accountability partner. And third, and the most important thing, you need to be ready to face the challenge that not everything is going to work out. And you would not have any teammate, any resources to actually lean onto, especially in the beginning. I now have teammate, I have a social media person, I have a LinkedIn person who actually looks after it, and then they look after the digital media and all of that as well. And I'm like, I'm gonna sit and do this, but in the beginning, there is literally nobody, Right? So you got to be ready for it. And now what will make that ready for you? One, that idea. So of course, sit with whosoever you need to sit with and discuss that idea. I sat with my spouse, right? My family still doesn't know about it. I sat with my spouse. Sh- that reminds me, I can't share this with them. But then I sat with my spouse and we spoke about it. And then if you are with your parents, sit with them and make them understand that why you would do this, and then for that you need to have the whatever market research you did in the last couple of months by doing it part time, and then this is what I see, I really want to give it a try. I make sure that you have some savings for the next 6 months, because life is very very uncertain, you don't know what would happen. So I have a saving for a year when I started, because I was like, if something doesn't work out, I can live happily for a year and then probably pack
That's
bag and
that's
then
the best. I really would love to clap for it that, those things are, I guess, really important. And this is like a very big step. Like,
yeah,
it's not like you can go back to your previous life and, be part of 9 to 5. There are things that you crossed, visa things and a lot of other things. And now you took up all those experiences and using it. But,
yeah,
you're your own motivator, everything. And I'm so glad that you started up as one. Now you are a team
yeah,
of 3 or 4 folks,
yeah,
and
yeah.
including your spouse as usual.
Yeah.
So, that's like a big achievement. And obviously, I don't know if anyone has not seen your videos or been not part of your broadcast channel, but it's really great. Like, there is a
Thank
lot
you.
of important information, and that's really important. Like, I guess at my time last year, there weren't such videos, or,
Hmm.
maybe I did not explore more.
Hmm.
But this is something that's really important where people talk about things, talk about
Yeah,
experiences, and this can actually be a stepping stone for others. And you
totally.
being from the recruitment background, and then you did your masters in, you know, uh, business administration. So all those things really like help folks and build up, and obviously the US culture with all those
Yeah,
programs, what all you're taught there, and then you can implement the same here in the country. So
absolutely.
coming back to the next part is more of, I know you were a recruiter and you
Hmm.
had, reviewed a lot of resumes, cover
Hmm.
letters, a lot of difficult conversation with people, and a
Yeah,
lot of other things, and a lot of, useless messages coming on LinkedIn, people connecting without any context.
yeah,
So I just want you to quickly like talk about. I know there could be a lot of do's and don'ts there, which
yeah,
you have seen, and that's what you are using it with the current, work as well, so that you express much as a recruiter and make people
totally.
realize things. So anything that you want, like that stood out as the major don't, or the major like this has to be done ASAP, like you can't skip it at all, or way of communication, cold messaging, like
Yeah.
how did you perceive it, and how obviously I know there are things that you organize at your end to talk about all
Hmm.
these things. I don't want
That's
to
okay.
drill
Yeah.
down much more,
Oh,
but
not at all.
in concise, where we can talk about few things.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, yeah, I talk about these in my services, of course, but I'm glad that we can talk about it here as well. So first of all, we'll start a little bit with the international students coming in. I would definitely say that do not underestimate the power of LinkedIn and networking online or offline. I mean, write it down somewhere, anywhere. Like I have weird sticky notes here on my laptop and on my screen, and the first things that I say is like networking. Like it's literally written in the caps, because that's the most important thing. And wherever you're coming from, a lot of countries do not have that presence of LinkedIn or social medias, for professional social medias, right? You want to be a part of it for whatever reasons. Either you're just talking people, you're engaging with them, you're creating content, you're reaching out, whatever you're trying to do, just be out there. That's one. I mean, that's a must have for anybody who's trying to do a master's here. Second would definitely be that have that online presence. That means that if I land on your profile, someone, or if I actually come and speak with you, create that presence of yourself. So either have that online presence, that means your profile is updated. When I look at it, I don't have to have a conversation with you and ask, what do you do exactly? Right? I should not be asking you that. Your summary and your work experience should be saying that. But if you meet me offline and if I say, hey, someone, what do you do? You should not be like, oh, and then you're speaking after 5 seconds because you don't know what to say, right? Have a very semi professional elevator pitch ready for every conversation once you're here. Very basics question that you would get as an international student: what did you do back in India, or what did you back in your country? And then second would definitely be, why are you doing your masters here, like what brings you to US, right? Or what brings you to this degree? These are the very basic questions. If you don't have, like, you should have that in your back pocket is what I would say. Because as much as you think that I'm doing a degree, what else do you all need? We need that in you. Literally, not a degree on paper, a little degree in you and in your brain. If you don't have that, I'm not sure as a recruiter if I would understand. And that's, again, it's a very early stage which is coming in. But then, even a recruiter, I would look at your LinkedIn and I would see, and I do find candidates through LinkedIn as well if I don't find their resumes. I mean, their LinkedIn is their resume. So I would say LinkedIn, yes, networking, yes. Your job search starts from day one of your university, not last day.
Yeah. So, there are a lot of features like I have been using LinkedIn from India. But the way I used it here in the States, it was really different. Like, okay, at that time, I was just looking out maybe, for different posts. I attended a couple of events, so I put up that. So when I look back to those posts and to the ones that I do right now, it's like it's like this is the difference. Like I'm really like, I don't want to like put them as my posts anymore. I want to remove them totally. So, you understand what are the few keywords that you want to talk about. You want to go ahead with, you know, what links you're mentioning, what are the hashtags that you're using. And then there is a way, obviously, to find people on LinkedIn, you know, and LinkedIn has also matured in its ways where you know who is hiring, there is a headline, and a lot of these things have changed, that has helped me actually. And I'm like a full-time like fan of LinkedIn. I use it day in day out. So I understand the importance of networking, being a student myself, and I'm no longer a student right now, but I still connect with a lot of folks. And that's one thing that keeps me going, that okay, I am in a new city now in Dallas. Let's just connect to a lot of folks in Dallas. Let's just see what are the different events going on, the local events that I can attend. And similarly, you may have done it for Seattle as well. So I have been to one event where I wasn't able to talk much. Like, there was some sort of fear that if I'd say anything, that would be all trash. So let's just explore, see how things are working on, and then eventually you get yourself accustomed. Okay, then you get to know that okay, these set of questions would anyways come from everyone. That what do you do, where do you work, okay, this that, and then you understand, okay, you have to come up with fun questions a bit. You need to watch some weekend matches, have some context about it. I've had those conversations during interviews as well, like when Atlanta usually has like the baseball match or any other match,
Hmm.
usually ask me in the interviews, and I used to be prepped up with it, and this is somehow you gain some interest in the
Yeah.
weekend activities and talk about it. So yeah, those are the things that you'll not I understand that you'll not understand on the day one. Like you mentioned, it takes time for you to get past it and
Yeah.
get it inside you that okay, you have to do like this.
Correct, correct. And honestly, and that's for everybody, someone, because we have gone through it, right? So now we know that the experience is not difficult to learn something new for the weekends. I would definitely say for anybody who's new, it would sound very intimidating at the beginning because you would probably not understand any sports or any conversations that people here are having. um but the idea is not to learn everything that they're saying, but then the idea is to engage with what they're saying. Even if they're engaging, and you can go and be like, that's interesting, I've never seen a match. Would you know when's the next one happening, and I can probably learn something, and then maybe we can watch it together. That's a way to approach it. You don't have to sit and do your homework and watch Google, and or like learn from Google, watch a match, and then go and have a conversation. That's the way you engage with somebody when they're saying something. And if you don't know about it, you can just go and be like, oh, that's interesting, I've never heard. Would you care to elaborate more, or I would love to know more about it, where do I watch it, tell me. So idea is to engage, have conversations. And because we're talking about networking, I really want to say this. I have an ebook on networking. People should check that. It's a 50-page ebook. I made that in a month because I wanted everything out there that worked out really well for me. And that's there on my social media. That's my shameless plug-in, but then I really want people to look at it.
No worries. I really want people to come and spam you. I would really love it. Like that would be my biggest win through this podcast. So we'll have like everyone, don't be stressed. We'll have all her, social media handles, her ebook link, everything down in the description. So you're not losing out on anything. Stay there, we're all good. I am that kind of a person. If I hear anything, I'll just open a different tab and start searching. So I just wanted to like tell everyone, you can just scroll down, see in the description, you'll have everything. And obviously, since we're talking about the ebook, I really wanted to ask you, for my audience here, whoever is listening, do you have any recent workshops, anything that they should be excited about that should come out on your social media soon and they could be part of it?
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm glad you asked. So every month I do one workshop on TopMate, for multiple reasons. One, because there is, I mean, I just want to be out there, answer questions without taking any money in return. But then also, second most important, this is a way that people can actually say that resources are available. Come meet the other community, other people who might be job seeking, or who might be looking for other resources. So yes, my I don't have a fixed date, but one is coming in August, and everything would be available. My social media, I'm loud out there. You'll probably listen, hear everything that's happening throughout the day on my social media. So find me. LinkedIn and Instagram are the best places to find me. And all my workshops, because we didn't say that specifically, so I really want to say that all my workshops are related with job search and personal development, like professional development in general, which is like confidence communication. But then the bigger pieces are resume, LinkedIn optimization, and interview. I do a lot of mock interviews, and because the market is hot right now, we've been doing a lot already. So I would say check out my profiles if you are anywhere in that space.
I would love to have a lot of folks there, and a workshop is a really great thing where you talk about a lot of things. And currently we really need a lot of help with folks where they want to understand more on the resume reviews. you know Fortnightly I get a lot of like resumes from my juniors or people
Mm.
on the LinkedIn. They want me to correct few things, and I do that, like, but still coming down from a coach who knows the best, and you do have that background of recruitment as well, and you
Yeah.
would know what things work and what not. I am still on that side that why my 100 resumes got rejected on those organizations. I am still that person who would not know much. And
Yeah.
I would really want to stress here to all the audience who is listening right now or watching us on any of the platform that, just scroll down, see the description, see her social media handles. There are loads and loads of videos because I'm more of a video
Fine.
person.
Yeah.
So, I really understand more with all those things. So, just check it out, watch one or two, see how it just relates with your life. If you need any sort of help, the top mate link would also be there. Schedule some time, have a conversation. I've had a conversation with her. She's really easy to talk to, nothing
Thank
to
you.
worry about that. It's more of a professional setup, but it's not like that. So, it's always good to take help. And if somebody is offering it so open handedly, just go for it. Like, I would really say go for it and take that help. And rest, you'll see all her handles down, the ebook, the top mate link, all the social media handles where she's active. And, probably she's here for a bigger cause to help everyone. And I would really want you to take that help so that she could spread that everywhere. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. And
Thank you.
I'm
Thank you
really
for
excited for that August workshop thing as well.
I'm excited for it as well, and thank you so much. But I mean, everything that you said, I couldn't have said that better. So thank you so much for promoting it the way that I want, because I definitely want to be that person that looks like a North Star for people who have no idea
Mhm.
that what do we do next from here? Like, whom do we speak with so we have some clarity? Because I faced that when I came here. and I was absolutely in dark. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to be that person for everybody. So I'm glad that you found me. And when we were talking about LinkedIn, I really wanted us to say that that's how we found each other.
Yes,
So
that's how, like,
yeah.
I stalked her. Like she mentioned, you could stalk people. I stalked her. Then I stalked her on Instagram. And, that's how we connected with each other. And, I called her up as a guest here. And one thing that I wanted to also talk about is cherry on the top is, we are international students. Like Shreya has been on H4 and then F1 and now, H4 again. So there's a lot to actually talk about. Everyone has question. I can't agree to that fact that nobody would have questions on these
Yeah.
visa. They would have, and she has a lot of things, and plus an MBA degree as well. So it's like a club of a lot of things that you can ask her and touch base with her. And as we mentioned, like we got hold of each other from LinkedIn itself, so it's
Yeah.
not like we met anywhere or anything of that sort. I've been stalking her, and then I reached out to her that if you would love to come and talk about your experience, because this one is different. And I know a lot of us are on H4, or maybe something needs to be worked out there. So this is more of for those people and anyone else who is also on wanting to come on F1 to Seattle University. So that's another thing on the boat. So
Absolutely.
there was a lot of things discussed, and I really loved talking to you before and now during the podcast as well, that you shared everything very honestly. And that was something that I really wanted everyone to know. And this was a different case as well, where you have gone through multiple visa
Yeah.
checkpoints. But at last, you want to share anything for the incoming international students or to the current H4 people? Anything as your advice that you want to give out? I know there were a couple of them during the podcast, but something
Yeah.
wrap up at the end.
Totally. So I'll give like two advisors. One is for the F1 students who are now coming to US. I would definitely say that um, think what factors are in picture when you're deciding a university. And then second, degree is not just a piece of paper. Degree is everything you put in for those 2 years, because your ROI would definitely be through networking, through what you learn, communication, events that you've been part of, even as stupid as like inviting a guest speaker from outside and nobody showing up, but then you were showing up with skills of leadership, organizing, figuring out things, reporting documentation, whatever. So just be out there. Don't just worry about the assessments, assignments. Just be out there doing anything and everything that you can and should be doing, depending on your talents and skill. And then for H4 people, I would definitely say if you haven't thought about doing a degree, I would definitely say do a degree if your finances allow that. Sit and speak to your family, to your spouses, and then make sure that you kind of pay them back or pay back to the household somehow, because that'll give you a very big motivation to do it well.
I agree to that point, and independence is something which will come from on all the directions. So that's something
Totally.
to like think about. And if not, talk to her. Like,
Find me.
see those pointers. Yeah, find me in the description box. So,
I had
yeah,
such a great time chatting with you. I mean, this was really good. And thank you so much for finding me, stalking me, like you say. And then thank you so much for showing so much love to my work, because again, as funny content creators, everybody get that love, right? But when you're trying to do something very educative, it becomes difficult to know if if it's actually reaching the
it's
right audience
really
and if people are
amazing.
loving it.
Yeah, it's really
Right.
amazing. And I think like it should reach to the broader audience. If it's not, I think so it is. But if it's not, and through this podcast, people listening can actually go up and see those. And if it helps like one or two folks, I think so it's like a bigger
Oh, why?
achievement for us. Like
Yes,
that's the impact that we're talking about. And you
totally.
know, I know it would have taken you many days, many hours, a lot of things on stake to,
Yeah.
get out with this and help. So that's like really commendable. And I'm really thankful for you to have that
Yeah.
and helping everyone with your experience. And, people are getting help there. So I've seen all those videos, so I can say, but for others, I'm just pushing them.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And like I said, like I've learned it from somebody. I just want to keep that going on. So I just want to teach somebody else as well. Yeah.
So
Thank you,
that
Saman.
was like a good wrap up, and I want to say thanks again, Shreya, for being here on ITSP Magazine. And people
Thank
would
you.
be loving hearing you sharing all those things. And touch wood, I really want you to be spammed everywhere.
Thank you. I hope that happens.
I hope that too. So, see you everyone again soon with another episode, with another story. And yeah, bye everyone. Stay safe.